In today's video, I wanted to show you how I did this look, but I also wanted to take it as an opportunity to play around with and just talk a little bit about some of my favorite products from Pat McGrath. Pat McGrath is having a really good sale right now, so I thought now would be a great time to go through some of my favorite products from her line, demonstrate them, and use them all together to create this look. So if you'd like to see how I did all of this and my thoughts on the products that I used, just keep on watching. So I've already done some contour, but I wanted to use Pat McGrath highlighters and blushes. I like to use highlighter first, especially if I'm going in with a powder highlighter. And also if I'm using a powder highlighter, I like to use a big, soft, fluffy brush for it. I just prefer the effect. I find it diffuses the product a lot more and gives you a more kind of lightweight layer of the powder highlighter. So I'm actually going to be mixing together two powder highlighters from Pat McGrath. One is last year's holiday highlighter. This one is called Lunar Nude. This is probably not available anymore, but she brought out a very, very similar one this holiday, which I believe is still available, and you can probably get a pretty good discount on it on her website. And then I'm also going to be using Lunar Allure, which is a different formula. This is her Divine Glow highlighter, and this one is a really nice kind of bright, icy type shade, and I like how it pairs with the kind of deeper baked formula. So that's those two shades. They're very pretty. So I'm gonna take my big soft cheek brush. I'm gonna go first into that one, and then I'll do a little tap into the other one. They're quite powdery, so I just like to tap my brush off a little bit, then we'll go in. And then I'm just going to go into the lighter one and focus that right in this area right here. I'm going to take a little bit again of Lunar Allure, which is the lighter one, put it right there, and a tiny bit right there, and a touch on the chin, and a little touch on the Cupid's bow. So next I want to go into blush, and I've again pulled out 2 different blushes. The first one here is Fleurtatious, which is one of my favorite Pat McGrath blush shades. Probably this and the new one that's come out, Nude Venus 2, are my favorite shades of her blushes. Fleurtatious is just a really nice, soft, neutral color. And then I also pulled out Venusian Sunrise, which is one of the duos that came out earlier this year. And I thought this would make sense with the quite purpley look that we have going on today. So I think I want Fleurtatious to be the main color. It's such a nice soft color that it's really easy to apply and not really have to worry too much about going overboard. And I'm just going to tap into the purple side of Venusian Sunrise. You can see it picks up quite a lot. I find the harder pressed sides of these duos is more pigmented than the rosy side usually. So again, tapping off my brush because I just want a hint of this color. And I'm focusing it more on the apple of the cheek. Actually going to go in with my eyeshadow brush and back into that purpley color. This is the classic crease brush from Sonia G. It's like a tiny version of the soft cheek that I used for the highlighter and blush. And I'm just putting that through my crease just to pull everything together a bit more. Since I have a lot of powders on my face, I didn't really use any creams except I layered a cream contour under a powder contour. I want to buff a little bit with the Sonia G Buffer Pro. This is a really great brush for doing that, just to meld all of these powders together. I don't have anything on this brush. I usually just use it with nothing on it. You can certainly put a finishing powder on it, but I usually just use it for the texture of those bristles to do the buffing on their own. And I think really the last thing to do is lips. So I'm going to be using a Lisa Eldridge lip liner. I have had Pat McGrath lip liners in the past and they're excellent, but I just don't have any right now. My go-tos are the Lisa Eldridge. So I'm just going to line my lips quickly with the Fawn lip liner, and then we'll go in with the Pat McGrath lipstick. So there's the liner done, and the lipstick I've decided to go for is this Satin Allure one. So this is Pat McGrath's Satin formula, and this one is actually part of the Bridgerton 2 collection, I think. The shade is called Negligee, and I just love this formula, and I love the packaging, the presentation. It's really cute, and the color of this is really nice too. So that's what Negligee looks like. The formula is just so smooth and it just glides on really easily, but it has quite a lot of pigment too. So it's not like a sheer satin lipstick. It's more like a traditional creme or satin lipstick. And I find it wears really nicely too because it has so much pigment in it, and it's just really easy to apply. So this is the completed look. And so I would say the products that I've chosen to use today are my favorites from the Pat McGrath line, and particularly the eyeshadow palettes and the blushes. Those are really my tops. I would probably use her satin lipsticks a lot more if I didn't have such a large collection of Lisa Eldridge lipsticks. Those are just my go-tos because I feel like I know the colors really well, so it's very easy for me to choose which color I want to use for whatever makeup look I'm doing. And I just don't think of the Pat McGrath ones as often, but I do love this formula, and I think her colors are quite special as well. So her lipsticks are definitely really great. Her blushes are my favorite powder blushes of all time, and I would say particularly the ones that are in the single color pans. I do like her duos as well, and I did a whole review when those were released on, I think, 4 different shades of the duos. But again, kind of like I was talking about the Lisa Eldridge lipsticks, I feel like I just have a better sense of the colors that are in the singles. They just live a bit more clearly in my head, also because they are singles, so I don't have to think about how the 2 colors are going to combine. The formula is just so soft and lovely to work with. And the color range is really excellent as well. There's a lot of nuance in the shades of Pat McGrath blushes. And then the 10-pan Mothership palettes, they're just special palettes. They're very luxuriously packaged, but for me, it's really more about the presentation in the pans and the formulas themselves. The special shades to me are very special, and even some of the metallic shades have a very special quality to them. I think the best example of that is in the Huetopian Dream palette. This metallic here is not really supposed to be a special shade, but to me it is really a beautiful shade. You can see how much reflect and dimension that there is in that one. And of course, the super sparkly shades are my favorite because they just have such an immediate impact and will take any eye look to another level as soon as you apply them. I do have a whole video where I rank all of my Pat McGrath 10-pan Mothership palettes, so I will definitely link that below. I think I also have a Pat McGrath playlist, so if you wanted more in-depth information about any of the products that I talked about today, comparisons, and kind of a more complete discussion of the formulas and so on, you can definitely check those videos out. So I'll link that playlist as well. But I definitely think that if you're interested in trying some Pat McGrath for the first time, or you wanted to try some different products, or you've had some things on your list that you've been thinking about for quite a while, now is a great time to buy from Pat McGrath, the website, because she's having a really good sale right now. So let me know if you have any questions or comments below. I always love to see those. If you'd like to see more from me and you haven't subscribed to my channel already, I would love for you to do so. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.